Hi, and welcome. You ready to learn? You ready to do some repatterning? Well, we all learn best through doing, reinforced by reading. And that's why I've already sent into your inbox all the notes that are going to be in this next video. So there's no need for you to take notes. Just experience belief repatterning. You'll need about 6 or 7 minutes and a glass of water. You'll see why in a minute. So learning happens in two main ways: repetition and emotion. Doing something over and over again, rote learning, it'll work. It's boring, but it'll work. But when we add emotion, we learn more quickly. And so in the olden days of teaching and coaching, threats, pushing, holding your feet to the fire, punishment were all ways of adding emotion to learning. It speeded it up. It worked for a while. But then it created resentment and sabotage. Think about one of those teachers that you may have had in the past, or a coach that pushed you hard. You did do things for them, but then one day you got irritated and you stopped doing it. That's what's happened to you. That's why you've been sabotaging yourself and taking yourself out of the game. You just learned that you needed to push yourself in order to get things done, and then you got tired. So what really works is supportive, positive emotion added to repetition, putting playfulness to it. That's the secret of the belief repatterning process. So when we add fun or any emotion on what I call the upside of the line, learning becomes much more effective. It goes on super speed. So are you ready to experience belief repatterning? Are you ready to have some fun with it? I've discovered when I ask people who are frustrated, overwhelmed, or generally on what I call the downside of the line, that they can't imagine what emotion they could possibly want to feel that would be something better than where they are. They're kind of stuck. So let's start where most people are, and maybe you are sitting, which is on the downside, wanting something better with no idea of what that might be or how to get there. It's no wonder you feel lost, stuck, or confused. Let's flip the switch together. So let's start with where you're at. What do you want less of? What are you sick and tired of? What's the first thing that springs to your mind? Is it debt, stress, frustration, pain, loneliness? Now, we established earlier on that focusing on what you don't want will create more of that and keep you in that spin cycle. So as soon as we've decided what it is that you don't want, what would it feel like if it magically went away? And if you're having trouble with this, think about what you would want somebody that you care about to have if they were feeling that way. So if they're in debt, would you want them to feel stable or secure? If it's stress that they're feeling, would you want them to feel calm or relaxed? If it's frustration, maybe centered or peaceful. If it's pain, maybe you want to help them to feel more comfortable or help them get healthy. And if it's loneliness, you might want them to feel connected or loved. So what is it that you want? What do you want instead? Just remember that everything I'm telling you is going to be in your inbox, so you don't need to take notes. You can relax and let your mind shift gently and naturally to something better. So let's start with creating the feeling that you actually want. Now I'm going to pick one feeling to begin the belief repatterning process, and I'm going to ask you to work through it with me. But you can and will repattern anything you choose. We're going to begin with one feeling. I'm going to show you the statements. Then you're going to have a copy of the statements, and you can add a different feeling to it later. Will that work for you? Super. So let's get started. I'm going to choose feeling centered because it's something that I think most people could always use a little more of. So let's start. Oh, before we do, let's take a sip of water. Water helps your brain learn better. So, I forgive myself for believing the way things have been is the way they have to stay. So repeat that with me, and I'll do it in a couple of sections for you. I forgive myself for believing that the way things have been is the way they have to stay. Breathe it in through your nose and out through your mouth. I give myself permission to dissolve that old spin cycle by feeling centered. I give myself permission to dissolve the spin cycle, that old spin cycle, by feeling centered. I can feel myself in the spin cycle, Or I can feel centered, but I can't feel both at the same time. And so I consciously choose to become centered. I can be in the spin cycle, or I could feel centered. I can't do both at the same time. So I consciously choose to become centered. Breathe it in and let it go. I am so grateful to myself for choosing the option of feeling centered. I am so grateful to myself for choosing the option of feeling centered. Breathe it in and let it go. It's a great time to take another sip of water. And while you're doing that, think about where you might feel centered today, because learning has to be personalized, and the next two statements require some personalization on your part. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some great ideas so that you'll be able to do it. We'll make it fun and simple. So think about what you're already going to be doing today, and then we're going to take the feeling of centeredness to it. So let me give you some examples. I'm free to center myself today by going for a walk in the sunshine in the park. Or I'm free to center myself today by hugging my partner, Phil. Or I'm free to center myself today when I have a quiet cup of tea this afternoon on the Chesterfield in the living room. So give yourself a specific example, and then you're going to breathe it in. So I'll do the first part of it with you, but out loud, give yourself a specific example of something you're already doing today that you could add centeredness to. I'm free to center myself today by. Nice work. Good job. Thanks for trying it on. So the next one is asking you when you have felt centered. So that one we just did answers that little monkey that goes, I don't know how to do it. What am I going to do? This next one answers the, I don't think I know what that feels like. So I'm going to ask you to think of a time when you felt centered. It doesn't have to be big and huge. It can be really, really simple. I know what it feels like to be centered. So I'll give you a couple of examples. I know what it feels like to be centered. It happened today. Let me think. It happened today when I had that apple for my snack. That felt centered. Or I know what it feels like to be centered. It happened yesterday when I saw Rita and gave her a big hug. It was so great to reconnect. I felt centered. So think of something that you've done, something simple. It does not have to be a fly to the moon and back again before breakfast kind of thing. Just when did you feel centered? I'll do the first part with you, and then you complete it with an example from your own life. I know what it feels like to be centered. It happened today when I. Or maybe it happened yesterday when I. Or even it happened on the weekend when I. Just find an example and breathe it in. And then the final seventh step, I'm becoming more centered, and that feels like me. I'm becoming more centered, and that feels like me. And breathe it in. Now, I know this seems simple, but trust me, repetition combined with positive emotion is the key to rapid learning. It doesn't have to take 30 days or 21 days or 90 days to a new habit. Those of you who've ever brought a new baby home, it didn't take 90 days to change the habit. Or if you've bought a new house, you don't keep driving to the old house for 21 days when one day miraculously you start driving to the new one. Anything new, new habits will change quite quickly if there's enough emotion. The repetition is important, but it's the emotion that really shifts the habit. New ways of thinking, that's all it is. So in your inbox over the next couple of days, you're going to be receiving some things from me, and in each one you'll receive another set of repatterning statements so you can switch up your learning. Because you see, if you do exactly the same thing over and over again, your mind gets bored, gets complacent. So we'll switch it up a little bit. I promise I'll also every time share another quick practice that you can try on to support your conscious mind and your subconscious mind in learning the habit of positive self-talk. So today's practice, make a list of what you don't want, and then figure out what the feeling would be on the other side of it. Remember, you hold the magic sprinkle test. You're the one who gets to decide how you want to feel. And so while you're going about your day, you can watch for ideas and evidence and decide what you'd be feeling if you had what you really want. So each day, pop a different emotion into the statements that you have. You can use different statements, different emotions. Please, one a day. Let's start with it simple. Change will happen. Once you learn something, it will become your new normal. Can you imagine positive self-talk as your new normal? The 7-step belief repatterning process, represented in the patterning statements that you've just been through and outlined in the materials in your inbox and the ones I'll be sending you over the next few days, are the stepping stones on your pathway to creating what you really want. We talked about the 4 R's. Reading, writing, and arithmetic have got you this far. Repatterning's going to get you the rest of the way. I so look forward to hearing from you with your questions and comments. Join us on the Facebook page. It's called Belief Repatterning. So that's belief, B-E-L-I-E-F-R-E dash patterning. You can ask your questions and members of our learning community will support you in flipping your switch. Have fun, smile, enjoy the process, and really enjoy the beauty that this day holds. I'm Suze Casey, and I'm reminding you that you can and in fact will repattern absolutely anything you choose. I look forward to hearing from you. See you soon. Bye for now.